Hey guys, I'm going to teach a story in the Bible today about a promise. Who could tell me what a promise is? Yes.
A promise is when you do something and you promise to go to your friend's birthday party and
Right.
and you don't go off track.
Right.
And you don't do anything else.
Right.
You just go to that one birthday party.
Right, so a promise is when you tell somebody that you're going to do something, and the ultimate giver of promises is God, and God always keeps his promise. I'm going to teach a story today about how God made a promise to somebody, and he believed in it so much that he got into some dangerous situation where he took that promise to heart. And so I'm going to introduce you to a couple characters here. This guy, his name, anybody know who that is? What's his name?
Joseph.
No. This is David. His name is David. And David was a guy after God's own heart. I'm going to introduce you to another guy who's going to come at the beginning of our story. His name is Samuel. Hey, that's your name, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm Samuel the prophet.
That's
He's
right.
the prophet.
And Samuel was a prophet of God, exactly. So come on down here. I want to teach you a little story. So this guy Samuel, right here, he was told by God that he needed to go and find a new king for Israel. God wanted him to anoint a new king. The king at the time was King Saul, and King Saul is this guy right over here. That's King Saul. So King Saul had made God unhappy, so he told Samuel to go and find a man named Jesse. And Jesse was the son of 8 sons.
The
So
father
Samuel-
of 8 sons.
So Samuel
No,
went.
the dad of 8 sons.
That's
Right.
isn't that what I said?
No.
Did I not say that?
No,
Okay,
you
he's
said
the.
son of 8
Oh, I'm
sons.
sorry. He's the dad. You're right. You got me. He's the dad of 8 sons. So his name is Jesse. Samuel came up to him and said, "Hey, God has told me that I need to come here and find a new king, and he told me that one of your sons is going to be the king." Well, he told him that his oldest, most handsome son is Eliab. This is Eliab right here. Samuel looked at him and said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling it. God said that's not the guy." So he steps down to the next son. His son was Aminadab. And he looked at him and he said, "Yeah, that's not him either." And then he introduced him to Shammah. He looked at Shammah and he said, "Nope, that's not the king either."
I love Shaman. He's cool.
Is Shammah pretty cool? Yep. So then he went down to the other 4 sons and he looked at this guy. And yeah, that guy, definitely not that guy.
He's
yeah.
too scary.
Yeah, he is kind of scary. Then he looked at this son. He said, "Nope, not that son either." And he looked at that son.
No, too
Whoa.
scary.
Yep, not that dude either. And look, even is that Captain America? Nope. He said, "Nope, not that one either." So then, you know what? Samuel came back to Jesse and he said, "God's telling me that this isn't any of them. Do you have any other sons?" Well, guess who his last son was? His last son, he said, is David. David.
Oh,
Right.
what?
So he asked him if he could get David. David was out tending the sheep. So in comes our hero, David. Now, so God told Samuel that this is the one. So he anointed him to be the next king of Israel. Now, he wasn't going to be the king right away. He was going to be the next king. So Saul was still currently the king. So, in the meantime, some time passed. And the Israelites went to war with a group of people called the Philistines. Anybody ever heard of the Philistines? The Philistines were a bad group of guys.
Yep.
And so all 3 of Jesse's sons, his 3 oldest sons, had to go to war.
Oh.
So they went over to this battle that was raging between the Israelites.
He must die.
And over here, all the Philistines. And there was a valley between them, and down at the bottom of the valley was a big, big dude. He was way bigger than all of them. Down there, his name was Goliath. And Goliath
So big, if he jumped, his head would touch the
Yep, he was a big dude. He was about 9 or 10 feet tall. And he was down here yelling at the Israelites, telling them that their God was no good, to send down anybody to try to defeat him. And nobody would do it. They were all scared. And King Saul, who was up here on the hill as well, King Saul was up there and he wouldn't go down there either. So, back over here with Jesse. Jesse told David, hey, your brothers are out at war. They need some food, so I'm going to send you to give them some food. So David went to his brothers. He showed up at his brothers, and his brothers were like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be tending the sheep at home with Dad. David told him no, and then at the meantime, David hears Goliath cursing his God. And he questions them why they won't go fight. Everybody is too scared. So David goes up and talks to King Saul. King Saul tells him that Goliath is down there, and David says, how in the world can you let a man like that talk bad about our God? And he tells King Saul that he is going to go and fight Goliath. King Saul can't believe it. He says, you're too small. You can't do that. David tells him, you know what? I tend my father's sheep. I've killed a lion and I have killed a bear. So I am going to go and take care of Goliath for you. Well, King Saul says, here, if you're going to do that, take my
helmet.
Take my helmet. That's right. And take my sword. But David says, you know what? I can't take that stuff. It's too heavy for me.
He's not going to take the
way,
sword
way too heavy.
or anything.
So David decides to go and get his sling. He gets his sling. As you can see, he's holding his hand, and he comes down to the stream to get a few rocks. Whoa, look out for the shark. He gets a few rocks, and then he comes up here.
Pebble.
Yeah, so then he comes back down here.
One pebble, not
And you know what he does?
a few rocks.
You know what he does? He comes up. Look at the size of Goliath next to David.
Dang.
Amazing, huh?
Yep.
So Goliath continues.
Look at his sword. Look at his sword. Look, he just has the tiniest slingshot.
I know. So you know what David does? Here's what David says. It says, hold on.
He's not gonna win.
I know. He starts, in fact, he tells David, he says, what do you think I am, a dog? You think I'm a dog? You send this little guy out to me? So here's what David says to him. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. Today I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by the sword or spear that the Lord saves for the battle. It is the Lord's, and he will give all to you into our hands. So do you know why David believed that he could beat Goliath? It's because of the promise that God gave him that he would be king. Goliath can't kill him because he's going to be king. If Goliath kills David, then guess what? God's promises aren't true. So you know what David does? He takes his little rock in his hand here, and he puts it in his sling, and he slings it at Goliath, and pow! It hits him in the head. And he's done. And he is dead. And you know what? All the Philistines run away, and David is the hero. Do you know why? Do you know why David's the hero? Because God's promises are always, always true. So you always need to remember that when God has a promise in the Bible, all those promises are true for each and every one of us. Have a good day. Love you.